Well, it looks like cryptocurrencies are not going anywhere. In fact, they're going to be a big part of your daily lives very, very soon, if they're not already. In this video, I'm going to tell you what a report that Ripple just put out regarding financial institutions and their use of cryptocurrencies. I'm going to tell you what the top 3 things are in terms of what cryptocurrencies could have value and usage in the financial system. Also, the Panamanian government, specifically its banking sector, is looking at sanctions on Tornado Cash. It is among a growing list of countries and institutions that are looking at services like Tornado Cash and becoming extremely concerned with it. So I'm going to tell you what the Panamanian banking sector is doing in terms of their own regulation. Also, we're going to be looking at some of the prices and what the markets are doing right now because as I am recording this, Bitcoin is right around $25,000. Ethereum is right around $2,000. I'm going to go over some of what the rest of the markets are doing and what it could look like in the near term, especially because it looks like BlackRock may have just dropped its Black Swan event on the crypto markets. Hey everyone, my name is Randy. Welcome back to the Late Night Grind. Right now on this channel, we are covering cryptocurrency news, investment markets, and personal finance. So if any or all these topics interest you, make sure you hit that subscribe button. Join the Late Night Grind community. Also, if you hit the bell notification icon, that way YouTube will send you a notification when I release a new video. And also, if you do a couple of things, I'd appreciate it. Smash the thumbs up button and watch this video all the way to the end. And of course, check out my Patreon. There's a link in the description below. If you do all those things, it really helps out a YouTube channel. All right, guys, let's jump into it. So first, let's start talking about the markets and what crypto is currently doing because Bitcoin is just under $25,000. It hasn't been there in a very long time. At least it seems that way. It is right up against $25,000, just under. And Ethereum, and as I was preparing this video, Ethereum crossed over $2,000 and then, of course, dipped just underneath it. And of course, Ethereum has been moving the markets more than just about everything else, more or less because of the news of its moving to proof of stake that is becoming more definitive, and there's an actual time frame, is becoming a little more bullish. Now, is it going to be more of a buy the rumor, sell the news type of thing? In other words, once this merge takes place, is there going to be a huge drop off in price? Well, I'm not sure, and I'm still doing my analysis on it, but let me know in the comment section down below what you guys think of that, because I've seen several other instances where it was a big buy the rumor, sell the news event, and that's exactly what happened. But this is a little bit different because the cryptocurrency hasn't exactly seen anything like this, at least not with one of its major players. And as it stands right now, XRP is at about 38 cents. It hasn't exactly been moving to the upside right along with Bitcoin and Ethereum and some of the others. And it's been moving to the upside, but just not to the same degree. And that's not a bad thing if you're continuing to dollar cost average in and simply accumulate XRP, which it appears, based on the hundreds of millions of XRP that are floating around these wallets and these exchanges in the last couple of weeks, well, there's a lot of people that are taking advantage of the low prices. Also, it looks like Matic is just about at $1 as I was getting this video ready. And if you were a member of my Patreon, you would have gotten this pick when it was back at about 52 cents. Also, Polkadot is another one that is moving big right now. It is about $9.53. It is up almost 18% in the last several days. Now, there are very few that are moving that much outside of Ethereum. Polkadot is one of them. Now, for the short term, what are we looking at? Well, we have to look at what the US dollar is doing. The DXY, which is currently at about 105.7, and it's been falling for about the past week or two, which coincides perfectly with what the price in Bitcoin is doing because as of the last year or two, they're basically inversely correlated, which means when the dollar drops, Bitcoin rises, and the reverse happens. Right now, the dollar has seemingly bounced off of or was rejected by a trend line and is now heading south, which some are speculating that is why the Bitcoin price is actually increasing more, not necessarily because of news or because the bottom is in on this bear market, but simply because the dollar is heading south. But right now, the rest of the markets are responding to basically the same way. The S&P, the Dow Jones, they have been climbing for the last several days as well. A lot of that has to do with the inflation number that came in the United States is not being as bad as some had actually anticipated, which, by the way, it's a horrible number, 8.5%. That is a horrible inflation number, but the markets have that priced in because they think that a sliding inflationary number will result in less rate hikes, will result in a more bullish market. So that's typically why you see movements like this. So what I'm looking at right now is the continued movement of the dollar, the DXY. If you go ahead and check it out on TradingView, that, in my opinion, is one of the bigger factors as to why the price of Bitcoin is climbing. That and, well, everything that BlackRock has recently been doing. All right, so now before I start talking about this report that Ripple just released, I want to talk about what they are doing down in Panama. Because recently, as Tornado Cash has made the rounds in all of the headlines in the crypto and the financial space, which now many countries and institutions are basically putting sanctions on. If they detect any addresses, any crypto addresses that have been dealing with Tornado Cash, you might be dealing with anywhere from jail time to huge fines to losing your account depending on which banking institution you are working with. But it's getting hot and heavy, and of course, along with that is the conversation about, well, yes, 26% of its usage was for illicit and illegal activities, but the other 75% wasn't. It was only strictly used for privacy reasons. But nonetheless, Panama made some headlines because its Digital Chamber of Commerce and blockchain recently came out and said that they as well are putting sanctions on it. And if you use one of their major banks, you could be facing losing your account as well as big fines in the future. Now, the interesting thing is that the same people that are essentially making these judgment calls are the same people that said cryptocurrency is not going anywhere, and we as this banking sector, at least in Panama, need to be a part of it. So this is just an interesting one to follow, and I'm going to be seeing what other countries around the world are doing with it because seeing if they are more bullish or bearish on crypto as a whole, I'm really interested to see if there's any correlation between their severity of punishments in using a service like Tornado Cash versus the amount of activity and adoption of cryptocurrency in that particular market. So it's definitely one that I'm going to be keeping an eye on. All right, so now let's talk about what Ripple just came out with, which was a huge report. They just did a huge global survey, and of course, they are the company to do it, working with the on-demand liquidity system, which they have with clients all over the world transacting billions and billions of dollars worth of value across borders using XRP as the settlement and bridge token, as we all know and love. Well, they recently did a survey asking all these global financial institutions what they think about blockchain technology, cryptocurrencies, and the results that came back were not exactly shocking, but it is something to take note of, is considering the news that BlackRock just came out with, that it was basically backed up by this Ripple report that was just released. All right, so what is it? This report shows that 76% of global financial institutions will be using cryptocurrencies by the year 2026. Now, that sounds like a long ways away, but it's not. It's less than 2.5 years away. And for the financial, especially the legacy financial banking institutions, well, that's actually a pretty aggressive timeline, stating that 76% of them are going to be involved in cryptocurrencies in some form or fashion. But nonetheless, they gave their top 3 indicators in terms of what they are looking at for holding into their portfolio or for using a specific cryptocurrency. So they are as follows. Number 1, they're going to be looking at the adoption of cryptocurrency as a payment method. And that's kind of an obvious one. Outside of an investment or trading, people are looking at global adoption, and using it as a payment system or a form of payment is one of the most obvious ones. So obviously you're going to have financial sectors looking at that and looking at, is this particular cryptocurrency or this crypto project or this blockchain used for payments? Number 2, the utility of the crypto token. And if you're wondering if XRP falls into both of those categories, well, yes, quite obviously it does. You can use it for payments. It has an incredible amount of utility. And it also falls into the number 3 thing that these financial sectors said that they're going to be looking for in a cryptocurrency. And that is its associated use as a bridge currency to transfer value. That's exactly what XRP is and what it was built for. So Ripple putting out this global survey, it's no shock that the top 3 items that came back had to do with something like XRP fitting into all 3 of those categories. But there's still plenty of other cryptocurrencies out there, in my opinion, that do fall into all 3 of those categories just as well. And when you consider that 76% of these global financial institutions are going to be using either holding in their portfolio cryptocurrencies, either accepting or using them as bridge payment services, whether or not they use Ripple's on-demand liquidity system or something else that's currently being developed, that is extremely bullish news for this industry. So it's definitely something that I'm going to be keeping track of. All right, guys, I want to thank you so much for watching this video all the way to the end, for smashing that thumbs up button, and as always, I'll see you guys on the next video.